If you're looking forward to install React Native on a brand new machine, and if you think that you all need to do is to execute this command, you have to install many more prerequisites: Android Studio, Xcode, Node, whatnot. I have written this step-by-step tutorial which we would be following through in this video, and by the end of this video we would have the default example app of React Native running on both Android as well as iOS simulators. This machine is a brand new machine, has no software or dependency installed, so let's install React Native. The first thing we would be installing is Homebrew package manager. If you already have it, you can skip. Let's check. I don't have it, so I can easily install by running this command in my command prompt. So now we have our Homebrew installed and we can move forward to the next steps. Now that we have Homebrew installed, the next step would be to install Node. First, you can check whether you already have the Node installed. I don't have it. Now, there are two ways in which you can install Node. The first way is you can simply execute this command and move on to the next steps. This will install both Yarn as well as the latest Node. However, if you already have projects using different versions of Node and you are not comfortable in upgrading Node to the latest version, I highly recommend you use NVM. NVM allows you to install different versions of Node and easily switch between them when you are working on a particular application. For this video, we would be following the NVM approach, but feel absolutely free. You can do the brew install yarn and move on to the next step. So let's install NVM. Also, there is a video which the link would be appearing somewhere on the top. You can watch that video for details around NVM. There is one more step required. If I currently do NVM, it would say NVM not found. So it mentions that either you can close and reopen the terminal or you can execute this command. If I just copy, paste and execute this command and we do NVM, then I get the NVM. That we have NVM, we can easily install the Node version. So we would like to install the latest Node version, which we can do by running this command nvm install stable. You can also specify a specific version. So currently the 16.8 version is the latest stable version, so that it's what it is installing. So we have the Node on our machine. We can move on to the next step. So the next step would be that we would need to install OpenJDK. So we can make use of the brew for that. OpenJDK has many versions. OpenJDK 8 is still considered to be the most stable version for React Native, so we would go with that. You can install a later version as well. You can also install Oracle's JDK if you want. I found that this is the cleanest option for making React Native work. Let's do the brew tab. And once the tab is over, we can use the cask. Now this will install. Okay, so I do not have cask. We need to fix this by making cask available. All right, I realized why it is not working. The command has changed, so it is not brew cask install. It is, I have updated it here. It is now a brew install -- cask adopt OpenJDK. So if I run this, it should work. Great. So we have adopt OpenJDK 8 installed, and guess what? We are not done with the stuff which was not directly related to React Native. and we would be moving on to the steps which are more React Native specific. Let's get ahead. The first thing we would need to install is the Watchman. Facebook React Native needs it to sync the application with the file changes. So let's install, view install Watchman. Great, so we have installed Watchman. It took a while, but we are all set for the next step. Let's continue. Next, we need to install the React Native CLI. Let's do that. We are done with that. Now that we are done with React Native CLI, the next step is to install the Xcode. This is going to take a lot of time. If you don't have Xcode, it's like an 11 gigs of download, but it is needed if you want to run your React Native applications on iPhone. We definitely want to have React Native run on both iOS and Android. That's what the beauty of it is. So for that, we need to go to this link and open App Store and get installed. Yeah, it is downloading. It will take a while. I'll pause the video for now and we'll resume when it has downloaded the Xcode. So now we have our Xcode installed. We don't need to open it right now. Let's continue. So now that we are done with the Cocoapods, the next step is to install AndroidStudio. So for AndroidStudio, we can go to this link and we can download the software, download AndroidStudio. I currently have a Mac with an Intel chip. You should select the one which you have, and it's downloading. And let's install AndroidStudio. If you do not want to install AndroidStudio, you can also download the specific tools and SDKs. I tried it once, but I had to spend a lot of time to fix different issues. So I rather decided to go for the AndroidStudio. It takes a little more size, but it provides you with all the tools which are needed to make your React Native applications work. Let's go to the applications folder and run AndroidStudio. The reason I am running this is I want to ensure that the emulators are there. Do not import settings. Right. Okay, update. Or maybe I'll ignore it for now. Do not actually need it. Next, I'd go with the standard installation. Okay, I like this. I like quite more for Visual Studio, AndroidStudio, sorry. And then finally, go with the finish. So this is gonna take some time, but it will have everything installed, like Emulator. It's installing that. So now that we have the AndroidStudio installed, just ensure we have the AVD manager. It doesn't have any device. Let's add a device. Which one should we have? Let's have the latest one. Let's have the Pixel 5 4 and do the next. And which one should we go for? Let's go with the latest one, which is R. Download. So next. All right, so we have the components installed. Let's finish it and move next. All right, this is the AVD name. Finish. Let's just try it out. If we had not done this step, then running the running the React Native CLI command would throw an error that there is no device found. By the way, if you have your own Android device, you can skip this. You can just use your physical device and you don't need Android Studio. But I recommend you have this so that you can try it even if your device is not there. So we have this cool emulator up. Though we have our Android Studio installed and our emulator is also up, still you are likely going to come across many errors when you try to compile the Android React Native application, because a lot of SDKs and tools are not accessible. They are not available to the command, the bash. So we need to export those paths. So for that, a very important step is that copy this and export these paths. So for that, we would be editing our nano. I'm using Z shell RC. I would be updating that. You probably might be having the same or bash RC. And here, ensure that you replace this placeholder with your user ID. Yes. Now we are all set. Let's move on to the next step. Now that we have added all the paths, let's move on to the next steps. Oh, finally, we are ready to create and launch our first React Native application. So funny is that now we can run this command, which is on the home page of the official site, to create an application. All we did was needed to make it work. So let's copy this command. I'm in my command prompt. I'll go to documents temp folder and paste. One thing, when you try this command, if you come across an error, npx not found, it is because nvm hasn't set a particular version available. So what you should be doing, let me just move on to the next line. Imagine that it's not working. Just check nvm is there. It should. And then you see this version nvm, this command. So we can set nvm alias default, and we downloaded the stable, right? So you could use this command so that it is always available. Or for that particular context, you can also say nvm use stable, but now we would always be having nvm available, npx and other commands, node commands available. So let's continue with what we were doing. Let's create the project. Let's move on to the folder. Okay, now these are the commands to run your application in your emulator, simulator, whatever it is, or your physical device if it is connected. Let's try out the iOS. Do you think it would work? Let's check it. Great. First thing, it's able to open the simulator by itself, which is first part, that the your iOS environment and React Native is working fine. So it's currently building the app. Let's wait for that. So our Metro server is launched. Let's wait for app to also start. Awesome. So we have our awesome application there up and running in iOS simulator. We followed all the steps and we didn't come across any error, which is great. Clap, clap. Great. So now that we have our iOS app working fine, let's try the Android one. Usually that is a little more delicate. Great. First step achieved. It's able to launch the emulator. This is one common problem which we run into. Yes. So we have our both the apps running fine in respective emulator, and you should be very proud of it. You did it. So set up your environment, follow this tutorial. If you have any questions, put it in comments. Like if it helps you. There would also be a link to a troubleshooting article wherein you could come across the potential errors I'm aware of, so you can refer to them. So best of luck to set your React application.